live players born or made? What makes a live player? How do we identify live player potential? What we're going to be doing tonight is looking at whether ancient astrology can provide clues to this essence of what makes a live player. Welcome, everyone, to the very first Red Porcupine podcast. My name is Richelle Steyn. Tonight, we are exploring consciousness with Rumen Kolev. Rumen is a scholar of ancient astrology. He's the author of many books, including the Babylonian Astrolabe. He's the creator and owner of the Placidus software, and he's also the translator of many ancient source texts. A very warm welcome to you, Rumen.
Hello to everybody. Hello. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Samo Burja is a geopolitical analyst. He's fascinated with the rise and fall of societies and civilizations. Now, very central to the foundational theory is his concept of live players. Live players create institutions that radically transform our economic, political, and sociocultural reality. They can do things that have never been done before. Xi Jinping, Putin, Musk, Bezos, the king of Morocco, Mohammed VI, Salzburger, who's the New York Times chairman and publisher, Morris Chang, who is the CEO and founder of the Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturing company. We're going to be using these live players in our analysis tonight. I just want to go through a couple of the live traits. Very central is this idea of sociocultural impact, to revive and refresh society and to produce these large cultural shifts. And a key trait is this ability to work off script. It's very easy if you've already got an original and you create a clone or you enhance the original or you transform it in some way, but it's very difficult to create original knowledge or original institutions. Now, our society actively selects against live players. They have their own internal authority. They live life according to their own rules, and they're eccentric. They break social templates. So normally, an institution would like a CEO that can follow orders and that's predictable. And live players are not like that at all. What live players do very well is they thrive under adversity. They are very adaptable. They can resurrect themselves and the institutions. A key characteristic or trait is this ability for them to pivot between industries. Musk is a very good example with Tesla, SpaceX, and now Twitter. How do you approach the analysis of, for example, one of the live players we're going to be working with today?
When you are talking about exceptional people, it is very logical that exceptional people should have exceptional charts. The unity between sky and earth. Outstanding people, brilliant people should have brilliant charts. For example, if you see a chart with the moon conjunct with a bright star on MC, on the meridian, or a planet conjunct a bright star, or several planets on MC conjunct with bright stars. This is something which does not happen every day. In fact, this happens very, very rarely. Also, if you see planets on the angles around the horizon or around the meridian, this is very strong. Also, if you see powerful stars, bright stars in conjunction with the horizon, the meridian, the moon, or the sun. also planets in heliacal phase, especially Mercury. If you see Mercury visible, because Mercury is so close to the sun, most of the time it is not visible. But sometimes it is visible only for several days, sometimes for up to 1 month even, depending on the geographical latitude. For the latitudes like 40, 45 degrees. If you go a little bit to the equator, like latitudes like 30 degrees, then it can be visible a little bit more, maybe for 40 days, during the 50 days, sometimes 60 days. This unity of the sky and the earth, when you look at the sky and you see Mercury visible, this is something that you see with your eyes on the sky. So this is an omen, this is a sign. This is something which means something.
Can you tell me something about consciousness or soul? How does that fit in?
According to ancient astrology, this belongs to the sun with the light. The archetypal consciousness, the archetypal world, which is actually the divine world, which is in the humans, can be judged by the light and by the constellations, by the so-called images on the sky. The images are the constellations, and every constellation is connected with a myth, with mythology. And mythology, this is the language of the archetypal world. It's mythology reveals what is the interrelation between the basic principles of the universe, what is their interplay. Like, for example, Apollo is the light of the whole universe. He is connected with the truth, and he is connected also with justice, because we see everything very clearly through the light. And Apollo is also, of course, the divinity of art, because with light we see what is beautiful and what is not. Apollo is the divinity of the visions, because through light we see something like the creative spirit, people who have this creative force in themselves. They see in a vision something, and then they put it in the material world. They make it in the material world, but first they see it in their inner vision, and this is Apollo. Apollo, you can see in the chart through the sun or through the Mercury, when Mercury is a morning star. When Mercury is visible as a morning star, it is Apollo. It, like a morning star, it rises before the sun, just sometimes before the sunrise. This is morning star. Mercury, it is Apollo in this case. And if Mercury is evening star, it is Hermes. Hermes is the divinity of the mental world. So, for example, when you look in a chart, you can see which principles are in this chart, which divinities are there. And the divinities are only basic principles on which is based the creation. The gods and the goddesses, they are not some kind of literary characters, some aliens sitting somewhere, in some cosmic object. The ancient gods and goddesses are the basic principles of the world. So if there is a light somewhere, this is Apollo. If there is love somewhere, it is Aphrodite. If it is wisdom somewhere, this is Athena. And the same also with Athena and with Aphrodite, this is Venus. Venus can be Athena if it is morning star, and Aphrodite if it is evening star. When we look at the chart, we can see immediately which divinities are in this chart. And sometimes we can even see which myths are played out. Imagine Mercury like a morning star when he is in his elongation from the sun. When Apollo is in full force, when he kills the echidna or python, and there is this myth that Apollo kills python or echidna with 100 arrows that he throws simultaneously. He strikes 100 arrows, which hit the 100 snakes of echidna. For a person, this symbolizes the battle between the light and the darkness. So if in some chart you see, for example, Mercury visible like a morning star in elongation, this is something that can lead to your conclusion that this is the time of the battle between Apollo and echidna. So in this life, this person, this is one of the most important lifetimes for this soul, because in this lifetime is this battle. The echidna is the symbol of our desires, of our attachment to the world. Then when people get so much attached to this sensual gratification in this material world, then the 100 snakes come out and kill this guy and eat him.
So we're talking about exceptional individuals have exceptional charts. In these exceptional individuals, what would you anticipate around consciousness?
I would expect strong charts with bright stars in important places. The light should be bright, should be a lot of light. I would expect planets in heliacal phases, because when a planet appears or disappears, this is like a pivotal moment in the consciousness, because this energy starts flowing or stops flowing. When a planet disappears, the energy of this planet stops flowing, and then there is this period of rest when the fruits of this planet come to life. When a planet appears for the first time, this is when its energy starts flowing in the consciousness, and then people start developing this kind of energy. So I would expect this. I would expect planets, because they are the source of light. A lot of planets on the angles conjunct with bright stars on the angles, on the meridian or on the horizon, visible Mercury. That's what I would expect to see.
In ancient astrology, this concept that we have about the spiritual concept about enlightenment, basically the development of consciousness towards enlightenment. What that means really is what I was showing in one of my slides, the difference between the consensus consciousness and the individuated consciousness, or the scripted reality that you live in and the unscripted reality. Is that something, that evolution of consciousness, does that feature in ancient astrology?
Well, it is there, but not described in such language, because this is a modern kind of language. This is modern kind of of intellectual models and concepts.
Yes.
Of course, in ancient times, the self-perfection and illumination were the main topics, actually, the main goal of human life. Of course, this kind of illumination was what was sought after, like this myth about Apollo killing Echidna with her 100 snakes, with 100 arrows. This is actually this description of illumination, because these 100 snakes, they are what keeps the people tied to the material world, keeps them in the cage of their ego, that they cannot break out. If someone breaks out of his or her ego, reaching nirvana satori, then these people actually they become one with the whole reality. I believe there's something in the charts where we can judge to some extent where this person has done spiritual work and whether this person has spiritual capital. There are 7 degrees in the zodiac, which are called, they are very, very special degrees. The ancient authors call them the most powerful, the most lucky degrees. I call them the sacred degrees. And I have observed that these degrees, if they are prominent, if there is something in them, then this means a lot of spiritual capital.
So there's a lot of different types of exceptional people. And the live players, their exceptionalness is not in the spiritual kind of realm. There is an evolution of consciousness or an upgrade in technology, if we can put it that way.
You know, these people who are very important for a given epoch, usually their charts are tied up very well, very similar to the chart of the epoch. Like, for example, one very important place in the chart is the spring equinox. So if someone has the moon a little bit after the spring equinox, this is actually the place where the first crescent of the moon appears, which is the first day of the cycle. And if someone has something there, especially the moon, then this means that he will be very important person for the cycle. And we can make charts of the cycle when the spring equinox enters into different dodecatemoria or different signs, and then we can compare the chart of the person with the chart of the cycle. Okay, and if it is very similar, then this guy will be very important for the cycle.
Do you want to launch Placidus and launch us into an example?
Okay, so this is the program Placidus here. As you see, Jeff Bezos, just several things that you can orient yourself. Now you see this black circle here is the horizon. Now I will wait a moment. Horizon here. This is the horizon. You see it?
Yes.
I switch it on and switch it off. This is the horizon. On the left is the eastern horizon. On the right is the western horizon. So the yellow circle, which is a perfect circle, yellow-orange circle is the ecliptic.
Okay.
And this point here, concentric circles, 3, 4 of them, is the spring equinox.
Oh.
Yeah, because right now I am into the Babylonian zodiac, which is by the constellations. For example, look at Taurus. Look at the constellation Taurus. And here is the sign Taurus. Like in the Babylonian zodiac, the constellation and the sign are one and the same. There is no difference. However, the tropical zodiac, Aries, the tropical Aries starts from this point here, which is the spring equinox. So I can switch to the tropical. So this is the tropical system. Now you see Aries, tropical Aries starts from the spring equinox.
Mm-hmm.
So the fixed Babylonian is connected with the stars, with the fixed stars. In the fixed Babylonian ecliptic Aldebaran, which is a star in the eye of the celestial bull of Taurus, is in the middle of the Babylonian Taurus, 1500. So, okay, so now I will show you the meridian. This blue line here is the meridian, and also here. The blue lines are the meridian. I will show you the meridian here. I switch it off and switch it on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can switch off the zodiac. I can switch off the stars. I can put the tropical only, and I can transform this into one-dimensional almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I can transform it if I want to, but I don't want to. So I will go back to Babylonian. I'll draw the zodiac. I'll put the stars too. And you can see also the planets. And if a planet is in the heliacal phase, you can see above the planet small letters in red. So if you look carefully above Mercury, you can see these small letters.
Yes.
And it says MF1. MF1 means morning first, one day after birthday, after the birthday. So this means MF1 above Mercury means that the next day Mercury will show up as a morning star. So here we have Mercury in a very powerful position. We have Mercury in the heliacal phase. Heliacal phase means plus minus 7 days from its appearance or disappearance. So here we have almost the day when Mercury appears. Actually, if I make from here, you see here, it is written extinct, which means extinction, which means how transparent is the atmosphere. You can see here 0.24. If I make the atmosphere more transparent, let's say I make it 0.20, then, all right, it is still not visible, Mercury, but let's say if I make it maybe 1/16, maybe 0.16. Yeah, if I make it 0.16, which is, well, it is a good transparent atmosphere, then Mercury would have risen on the same day when Jeff Bezos was born. This is a real sign on the heavens. In addition to this, the moon is there. The moon is like in the 5th degree of Babylonian Sagittarius, and Mercury is in the 11th. The moon is acting like a magnifying glass. Wherever is the moon, it's like she is making this influence of the fixed star, of the planet, to be focused. The power of Mercury as a morning star gets tripled up, or even more, quadrupled, because of the moon and because of the heliacal phase. And also something else. This is happening where is actually very close to the galactic center, to the Milky Way. The galactic center is somewhere between Scorpio and Sagittarius. I mean Babylonian Scorpio and Babylonian Sagittarius. It is somewhere here in the end, like a little bit south from the ecliptic, somewhere where it's like the tail of the Scorpio, somewhere here. So you see, Mercury and the Moon are very close, and also the Milky Way, as we can see it on the sky, it's coming right from here, right from this part of the sky of Sagittarius. There are a lot of stars which we can see here, and they go upward, and then they turn on the left on this diagram. So the Moon and Mercury are very close to MC, high in the sky. Mercury is visible, coming to light on the same day as Bezos is born, like a morning star, Apollo, visionary. And this is happening on the background of the Milky Way, of the center of the galaxy. So can you imagine what kind of force is this? This is tremendous force. This is like all this energy from the center of the galaxy first get focused by Apollo, by Mercury, morning star, shining up brightly, coming out for the first time, and then the Moon, like a second lens. And this is even like 10 times more powerful, maybe even 20 times more powerful, because it's very close to the meridian.
Yes.
On the MC, the meridian is the most powerful place in a chart. The most powerful. But for me, the most important is this position here. For me, when I see this, I don't need anything else to know that this person is very special. But of course, we can also think about, okay, if you look here, there is a star rising, which is Mira, Mira here, you see. So you look at this fish here, which is part of Pisces.
Yeah.
In the modern zodiac, this is the northern fish of Pisces. However, in ancient times, this northern fish, together with Mira and with several other stars here, they were part of a constellation which was depicting Athena, the divinity of wisdom. And in Babylon, this was the divinity Anunitu, which was again the corresponding divinity of the Greek Athena. Anunitu was connected with the Babylonian divinity Ishtar of Akkad, which was Athena, the divinity of war, of strategy, of crafts, of ingenuity. So this is also important because the most powerful star from the ancient constellation of Athena is exactly like you see on this line here, which is the ecliptical projection of the ascendant. Yeah, for me, when I see this here, the Moon, Mercury in a heliacal phase, this is absolutely enough. I don't need anything else. And this here is close to the meridian on the background of the Milky Way.
That's really exceptional.
Yes, absolutely. But here, in addition, we have also this powerful star, Mira, here. We have also the Milky Way here is acting like a powerful star too. We have quite a power here. Again, this guy has visible Mercury. We see here EEL2, which means evening last, 2 days after his birthday, which means that Mercury will disappear like an evening star 2 days after his birthday. So, and he's evening star, so he's connected with Hermes, the mental. Mercury of Jeff Bezos was morning star, so it was connected with Apollo, visions. And here, this is Hermes. This is the mental world. This is thinking, conceptions, in intellectual world. And look here, again, we have the moon here. We have also, if you look here, his sun is in conjunction with Regulus. Yeah, his sun is in the 4th degree of Babylonian Leo, and Regulus is in the 5th degree of Babylonian Leo. A royal staff. This is fame and glory. This is leadership, and also we have here Venus too. Venus here too is very close, and actually Sun-Venus conjunction, yes, and this is happening on very close to the sacred degrees in Leo. Like in Leo, we have 2 sacred degrees, and they are the 2nd degree and the 5th degree. So the 2nd degree is connected with the heart of the Hydra. Like there is here one star that I'm pointing now to. I'm pointing to this star here. It is called Alphard. You see, where is written 2? Where is written 2 degrees? Above the 2, there is this star here, and this is Alphard. This is the heart of the Hydra. And Regulus is the heart of the Lion. So this guy has Venus conjunct with the heart of the Hydra, and the Sun conjunct with the heart of the Lion. So these 2 stars
combination.
These 2 degrees are from the 7 sacred degrees. So I will think that this guy has also a highly spiritual capital too. All these planets here are in his 11th house. I'm using this simple whole sign system, which is the system of Hermes. You know that Hermes said that the rising sign, no matter where is the ascendant, whether it's in the 1st degree, in the middle, or in the last degree. So the rising sign is the 1st house. Then the next sign is the 2nd, and so on. So according to this system, the culminating sign is Cancer, and Leo is the next to culminate, which again, according to Hermes, is very strong sign. Like Hermes said, which are the strong signs? They are the signs on the angles, on the horizon and on the meridian. Then the sign which is next to culminate. In this case, this is Leo. And the 2 signs which make trine to the rising sign. So in this case, the rising sign is the Babylonian Libra. So we have Gemini and Aquarius. So these are the strong signs. They are 7. The 4 angles, the next to culminate, and the 2 trines to the rising sign. So Leo here is quite strong too. So let's see Elon Musk. And because he's born in the southern hemisphere, that's why the horizon looks a little bit different.
Okay.
So here again, look what is happening. Mercury again is in a heliacal phase. Here is written EF3, which means evening first, 3 days after the birth, which means that 3 days after his birth, Mercury will appear as an evening star. So we have here again powerful Mercury in a very powerful position again, close to the meridian. And we have here also Sirius, the star, in culmination. You see here is Sirius, and the meridian is just next to Sirius. First, Sirius is the most bright star on the sky. The more bright stars we have on the meridian, on the horizon, the more bright consciousness we have. So in this respect, this is just like the light of the most powerful star shining from its culmination. This is its most powerful place. So this gives more bright consciousness. Also Sirius in Babylon, this was a part of a constellation called the Arrow. The Arrow, and this constellation was connected with Ishtar of Akkad, which is the counterpart of the Greek Athena. Athena, the divinity of divine wisdom, of craft, of crafts, of ingenuity, of strategy, of all kinds of ingenious thinking. Also, something very interesting is that his Venus here, his Venus is a morning star. You see, look where is his sun, where is his Venus. His Venus is a morning star, and morning star Venus is again Athena. And very, very interesting, look, his Venus is between the horns of the bull. This is a sign because this place, the horns of the bull, are the crown of Isis, the Egyptian divinity of wisdom. And if you look how the crown of Isis looks, you'll see that it is like two horns of the bull with a disc between them. A disc, yes. Which can be the disc of the sun, it can be the disc of the moon, or it can be the disc of a planet. So when we see this, when we see a chart and a planet between the horns of the bull, especially in important house, like in this case, this is the 9th house. This is something extremely powerful. This means that this person is connected with Isis, the divinity of wisdom. The 9th house in ancient astrology is called the house of God. And it is believed that the 9th house shows which divinities are in communication with this person, which can be subconscious or conscious. So in this case, this is Athena Palace. Athena Palace is like the divinity of Elon Musk, very powerful. Between the horns of the bull, this is one of these very, very special places that I told you about. Yes. In ancient astrology, there are seven degrees which were called the most lucky, the most powerful. I call them the sacred degrees. So I told you about 2 of them, which are in Leo, and there are 3. There are 3 of them in Taurus, in Babylonian Taurus, in the 15th degree, which is the star Aldebaran, in the 28th degree, which is here exactly where is Venus. Yeah, she is in the 26th degree. In the 27th, 28th degree is the other very special degree, and in the 30th. So we have here 15, 27, and 30th. Also, look here. Venus is conjunct with Capella. Capella is in the 28th degree, which is here. You see, now I'm pointing. Yes. Now I'm pointing to Capella. Capella is one of the 5 most bright stars in the northern in the northern hemisphere. In the whole sky, maybe it's like one of the 10 most bright stars, Capella, and it is conjunct with his Venus here between the horns of the bull. That's very powerful. Capella also means wealth, means success. So we have here a recipe for a brilliant career, for a brilliant success.
The most wealthiest man in the world, or he was. I love the way the chart shows that between the horns of the bull. I mean, that's something you would just never know looking at the normal software.
Oh yeah, if you look at the normal software, let me show you what you will see. You'll see this. Well, even this is a lot because I show here the heliacal phases. So I must, so you'll see something like this and you'll wonder, what the hell is here? Nothing. So, but if you put the whole sky, then everything will fall in its right place. If I look at this, I will notice Mercury in a heliacal phase,
yes,
appearing as Hermes, and also, very close to the meridian, and also in conjunction, in ecliptical conjunction with Sirius, because Sirius is projected in the 20th degree. Actually, Sirius is projected in the 20th degree, and Mercury is in the 21st. So Mercury is conjunct with Sirius on the left side of the meridian, very close, and on the right side of the meridian, you have Venus, like Athena, conjunct with another bright star, Capella, and they are like in a kind of a mirror state, like the meridian is between them, and one is from the other side, the other one from the other side. So they are in a mundo conjunction along the meridian. So this is what I'll see here, and the sun is between them. So very powerful. And this is, of course, look here. This red point here is the summer solstice. So very, very strong indication that here we'll have something exceptional. Garry Kasparov, the moon right on the horizon. So we have here the moon right on the horizon, and also Antares. You see, if you look, Antares and the moon are like the same distance from the horizon. So they have the same altitude. So they're in some kind of conjunction along the horizon. They are what people call paranatelonta. They rise at the same time. So here we can say that the moon is in paranatelonta with Antares on the eastern horizon. Again, we have here a powerful star. Antares is like one of the most powerful stars on the sky. I would say that Aldebaran is maybe the most powerful because it's very close to the ecliptic, and there are a lot of powerful stars around Aldebaran too. And then Antares, definitely Antares is like one of maybe 5 most powerful stars. So Antares, most of the people believe that Antares is connected with Mars, but this is not exactly the case because there are some ancient authors who connect Antares with Mercury, and they have a very good reason. Because if you look at Antares, you will notice that Antares is changing colors very quickly, just like Mercury. Antares is predominantly red, but you can see also very powerful flashes of green, of blue, of yellow, which makes him very similar also to Mercury. So Antares is also intellectual stuff. Actually, Antares, I named Antares the star of the smart warrior, because at the same time it is Mars and Jupiter, which is warrior, but also it is Mercury, which makes a warrior who is also smart. So that's what we can see immediately here. So if we see this here, powerful star on the horizon, on the meridian, and the moon there, boom, that's the first indication that this guy is something. So then when I look here again I see here Mercury. You see Mercury, it's written above Mercury, EF -5, which means -5 means 5 days before birthday. And EF means evening first. So this means that Mercury has appeared as evening star 5 days before the birthday of Garry Kasparov. He is born on April the 13th, so 5 days before that will be the 8th of April, 1963. So this is what this means. So Mercury here is visible again as evening star, which is Hermes. It is the combinative mind, the mind which makes, which measures, which makes comparison between things. This is very, very telltale for a chess player. Strategy, yes, but you see, Mercury as Hermes, this is the mental world, a powerful mental world. And also what is important here, you see Jupiter. Jupiter is written above him MF2, which means that Jupiter will arise as a morning star, morning first, 2 days after his birthday. So he has also a powerful Jupiter, which gives him good luck. His sun is also in a very strong place. His sun, where shows up the first crescent of the moon in the beginning of the Babylonian year. This guy will be important as a leader for this micro epoch of maybe a lifetime, because you see this point here, the orange concentric circles, this is the spring equinox.
Yes.
And the beginning of the Babylonian year is when the sun is very close here on the spring equinox, or a little bit after it. And then the first moon appears exactly somewhere here in the end of Babylonian Pisces, somewhere where his sun is. So again, powerful chart. Also something, look here. The horns of the bull are the horizon goes through this space. This is also important here. This also gives him power. And also Rigel is conjunct with his descendant by a simple ecliptical projection. You see, Rigel is a very powerful star. So Rigel is also a star of wealth and of success too. This area between the horns of the bull, we have a lot of very powerful
influence.
Very powerful fixed stars, which whose ecliptical projection is here. Like Rigel is one of them. Also, we have here Capella, another one. We have Elnat, another one. We have also here like the belt of Orion, also is projected somewhere here in the end of Babylonian Taurus. In this region here, we have a lot of projections of bright stars. That's why it is so powerful. He has a visible Mercury. Here we have MF4, which means that 4 days after his birthday, Mercury will appear heliacally like a pole. Visionary. Again, we have here somebody who has visions. And Jupiter is in culmination here, close to the meridian. And look, where is the meridian going through? Again, through this area. So many powerful stars are here. Capella is here, Elnat, Aldebaran, regale the belt of Orion in this area here. So if I look at this chart, this is what I'll notice. I will notice where the meridian goes through. Jupiter here, very close to the meridian. Mercury in a heliacal phase. The Sun is in conjunction with Fomalhaut, a royal star. This is also a spiritual star, Fomalhaut. And also we have another spiritual star, the nebula. The nebula, which is the tail of the Leo. It's right conjunct his ascendant in Babylonian zodiac. By ecliptical projection, it's the 29th degree of Babylonian Leo. So I guess this guy was attracted to spirituality, to occult knowledge because of this Fomalhaut and the nebula. Okay, his Mercury is not visible, not in the heliacal phase. This guy has very important thing here. He has Sun with invisible Saturn, invisible Mercury, and invisible Venus in the 12th house, and Venus is in the first house. However, the very interesting thing is here that 3 planets are invisible. So what does this mean? This means that this guy is very secretive, and even his Mars is invisible. Even his Mars. Although his Mars is so far away from the Sun, it is still invisible. Why? Because he was born like very far north, like on the 59-degree latitude.
Yes.
And because there the ecliptic is very, very small angle with the horizon. That's why Mars can be invisible, being so far from the Sun. What ancient authors write about Saturn in the 12th house? They write that this guy will have the upper hand above his enemies, that he will be victorious over his enemies. So, but not forget the moon. Look at the moon.
Yes, what is that? What is the moon doing there?
Look here. His moon is in the 9th degree, again of Babylonian Taurus. So this is also interesting place because his moon is very close to the Pleiades. The Pleiades are in the 6th degree of Babylonian Taurus. And the Pleiades are like in Babylonian times, they were called Sebitu, and there were these seven spirits, spirits which were helping Nergal, Mars. Nergal or Mars was the Babylonian divinity of war. And these guys, the 7 Pleiades, the Sebitu, were his helpers. So you see, the Pleiades can be like a sword with double edge. Like what is definitely true about them, that if someone has the moon there or a planet conjunct with the Pleiades, they can be very they can be magicians, like they can influence people with their energy. They can make magic because the Pleiades are called the stars of the magicians, because the Pleiades can give some supernatural powers. And actually this will be a test for these people, because if they use them in an egocentric way, then they will not be able to progress spiritually. If they use them in a good way, then yes, they will go ahead. So if I look at his chart, this is what I'll talk about. The invisible planets, Saturn, Sun in the 12th house, and Mercury, and the Moon very close to the Pleiades in the 8th house. So Putin here is being tested with powers. Pleiades with powers.
Wow, what a fascinating introduction to ancient astrology and to your Placidus software, Rumen. I just absolutely love the perspective it gives on the skies and how it mirrors life on Earth. Lots of clues to live players, lots to digest and assimilate. Thank you, Rumen.
I want to wish good luck for you, for your family, and for everybody who is watching this video.
This is just the start. Our journey continues. Please like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Most importantly, if you have comments and feedback, I'd love to hear it. Also, if you have any recommendations or suggestions on who you'd like to see interviewed in this kind of format, please put it in the comments section below.